Yeah. So here we go. I think we got everybody on, and we've got some people getting frustrated for us taking a little too long to start. So let's get this party started.
Excellent. So today we're going to be talking about going over some social media strategy to kind of start out with. And then we're going to jump into leveraging the power of LinkedIn with Casey. And then a little bit later, Jeff Pfitzer is going to be joining, and he's going to be teaching us how to master Instagram. So let's jump right into the strategy here. And let me move these guys.
And we'll be showcasing the back end of LinkedIn as well through Casey. Casey has that company, My Link Solution. So take a look at that.
Yeah. Do you want to just jump right to that section, or do you want to kind of go over?
No, let's go through these because the numbers are important. I don't think people understand the immense number of people on both either LinkedIn or Instagram. People need to understand how big these things are. I agree.
Excellent. I agree. So social media right now is being used by 4.6 billion people, which is like crazy numbers. And then what's even crazier is that the average internet user spends an average of 2 hours and 23 minutes just between messaging and apps and social media every day. And just the fact that just to think like you could spend almost 2.5 hours on your phone every day is a little kind of crazy, but that's what today's people are doing. And so you want to make sure that you're showing up in the right places to where they're going to be. And so we're going to kind of help you do that today. Here's another stat here of 82% of the internet users are on social media, which I think is kind of incredible because, I feel like there's a lot of people still out there that don't like to use social media. But being that that's where your demographic is going to be, we want to make sure that we're executing the right strategies across the board.
Yeah, really quick, I want to showcase something. I'm going to steal your screen just to showcase something. There's a good question
for that, or are you good?
I think I can grab it. Let me grab it. And here's Statista. This is where we got our information from. You can take a look, a number of social media users worldwide from 2017 to 2027. So this is obviously an estimate from this point on, but you've got heading towards the end of this year at 4.89. Then it's going to just continue to grow, right? We don't see a slowdown happening. We just see a steady increase. So just know that, and I'll put up the link too, so you have it there. Now you can continue to share, Trenton. Here you go.
Cool. All right, so jump to this next one. 68% of U.S. adults are on social media. So, back here we have 82% of users on social media, and 68% of those are adults, which means that those are people that can purchase a home. And so we want to make sure that we're hitting them. Internet users are saying no to ads on social media, with more than 40% turning on ad blockers. I think that's pretty big because, a lot of people don't want to be bothered with ads. But for those that, don't click on that, that's where we can continue to show up for them. And of course, video is still huge on social media right now, especially for being able to gain some audience. And majority of brands are actually using video because that's what typically stops people to, when they're scrolling through. More people are spending time on Reels, more people are spending time on TikTok. And so you want to make sure you're catering content directly towards those individuals. So now we'll kind of get into a little bit more of the strategy portion of it here. And Tristan, I don't know if you want to take over this one, because this was kind of from a Brilliant Tribe. But basically, it's going to be built on consumer trust. So how can you get them to trust you? And how do you do that? You become better social listeners, using consumer insights, be agile in responding to consumer needs, having an excellent social media experience, and being able to personalize things. And we're going to be building brand communities and deeper, more meaningful relationships with your audience. So it's really about making sure that you're listening to them, providing them with what they're looking for, personalizing those things, and making sure that you're creating a relationship.
Part of that too, and I know we're going to touch on this a little bit later, but understanding why people are going to social media is extremely key. So as we touch on LinkedIn specifically for Casey, you're going to see what type of people go to LinkedIn and how to better use it, and then what type of people are going more towards Instagram. And then here, I'm going to steal your screen again, Trenton, only because I've got something separate here. Top users of social media. This is in general, right? All of social, and it source Oberlo. So take a look at that. Keeping in touch with friends and family. This is updated. 47%. So most of us go on, if we're going on LinkedIn, it's typically for business, right? Every once in a while, we have some other friends on there, like Casey brings up a good point on connecting with his previous college friends, right? Santa Barbara. Gaucho, I always remember because you bring that up. And in other social outlets for friends. Here, filling spare time, that's where we go to because things are moving so quick. Reading news stories. That right there is extremely important. 34%. 34% of people, and then you can take a look at this later, I'll dump this in, but 34% are going in and saying, I'm going on LinkedIn, I'm going on Instagram, I'm going on Facebook and everything else to tell me what's happening in the world. And every time there's a big event that happens that's in some cases a catastrophe, people go on and share there too. So that's what social media has conditioned people to do. So think about now content that you can create that people can then look at and share and engage with. That's why I love what you brought up there, Trenton, in that. So go ahead.
Perfect. So now let's kind of move into the importance of social media and kind of just what Tristan was mentioning there. It's about delivering news, people discovering new things. It's where people can see trends and insights that are happening. And of course, it's how the world communicates. So, it's how again, how Casey's reaching out to people from his college through LinkedIn. People on Instagram posting updates of their life story. I know Jeff Pfitzer talks about, posting multiple times on your Instagram story. So that way you're connecting and showing your personal side of things to have other people relate to you. And again, you're trying to just connect and build those relationships. And so then kind of how do you take some of that information and make sure that you're staying relevant and, top of mind here? And here's kind of how some different things that you want to make sure that you're doing with your social media, things like keyword title and description. So that's making sure that you're putting the right title out there. And we'll go a little bit into more of that later on. But it's about making sure that what you're putting out there is relevant and important to them. Making sure that you're staying up to date on trends. So things like if you're posting an Instagram video and you want to make sure you're using a trending song, that'll help you rank higher in your, in your organic posts and whenever people are scrolling through reels. And of course, timing, even that matters. Making sure you're posting at the right time. Things like the 5-5-5 method. Again, we'll jump into that, but it's about making sure that you're connecting in the right way so that your posts are connecting to other people that you're not necessarily constantly top of mind with. And so just making sure that, you're using the right tools in place to make sure that you can, succeed on social media too.
Hold on, I have to answer a question. Sophie brings up a good point. By the way, hi, Sophie. I know Sophie's not too far from you, Casey. She's in Santa Barbara.
I know, we've actually done a deal together. So yeah. Hey, Sophie, how you doing?
Nice. She says, I thought most people turn off music when scrolling. It really depends on when they're listening. But what happened over the last few years, specifically through COVID, when people were at home, they didn't have to turn off the music. And TikTok really shifted that trend. So now you're having a lot more people have the volume on. And when you give them the option, I don't think we go over this later, but when you give them the option, like on YouTube, they also 2x the speed at which they watch videos. So there you go. Good question, Sophie.
Yeah, I would say that I used to keep the volume off all the time until I started really watching those videos more often. And then it's like, well, you kind of miss it because you don't necessarily always see captions either. And so that's kind of where that audio is beneficial. So where's social media heading? Here's kind of some different things that you'll want to make sure that you're paying attention to as you're creating your content. So making sure that you are providing value. I think that's kind of the biggest one. If you really want to have people connect with you and stay on your videos for more than 2 seconds, because a lot of them are just kind of going like this. And so if you don't have something captivating within that first 1 to 2 seconds, you might lose them. And we'll share this presentation with you guys too, so you guys can go a little bit deeper into these. But making sure that you're having variations of different short form videos versus long form videos. Certain ones are better off on different platforms. Like an Instagram story, you'd want to keep under 10, 15 seconds. But then if you're going to post actual a post to your page or onto your Instagram feed, you might want a longer form video. So that way you can have them engaged a little bit longer. Maybe it's 20 to 30 seconds. Maybe it's 30 to 60 seconds. Maybe once you jump on the LinkedIn, you want to make sure that you're presenting a longer case here, and maybe it's 1 to 2 minutes, whatever that is, to make sure that you're providing that value in the right place at the right time as well. Different things with your audio, making sure that, like we kind of just mentioned there, either having trending sounds, making sure that you're, speaking right off the bat and getting the correct message right off of, like, within 3 seconds, making sure that you're staying relevant with them. And
Were
of
you
course,
gonna say right off the bat?
well, I did say it. I don't think I'm
Oh.
sure you heard it, so that's good. But algorithm, that's another one too. And so again, with the 5-5-5 method, you can kind of manipulate the algorithm there to kind of work to have your post show up to people that might not necessarily see it all the time. So again, we'll jump into that a little bit more in detail. So then again, what is that strategy? All these different things and tools that we've kind of talked about, how can we implement that into our business? And the key is authenticity. So making sure that what you are presenting out there is very authentic to you, to what they're looking for, and making sure that, you're building that trust and credibility as well. And so here, wanting to make sure that in 2023, you guys are going through a brand love approach. So making sure that you're making those personal connections, making sure you're giving value, offering help. Those are the big things that'll help you stand out, but also help connect with people that might need you for your real estate business. So the things you can do is kind of highlight brand features of yourself, what your service is, how you're engaging with these people. And your overall consumer experience is huge, because that's what's going to grow your brand in the long run.
And I can talk a little bit to that too, because I used to work at Gallup Consulting prior to real estate and technology. And brand is everything, especially during kind of downturns, market recessions, things like that. There was some meta-analysis that was saying what companies were the ones that thrived during recessions. And it wasn't the ones that had growth from like acquisitions and buying leads and buying stuff, which is an inorganic way of growing. But the companies that survived are the ones that were who had prospects or clients or leads that were married to the brand. In fact, they have a book called Married to the Brand. And so that's why Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all those big brands, like, they don't get affected by recessions or things like of that nature very much at all. So the brand is paramount, in my opinion, too.
It makes a lot of sense, man. And I think that's where we're going to show organic too. Organic growth has always been the best type of growth. Casey, I want to transition to you right now on LinkedIn, so that people can start looking at what this looks like if we're going to start posting. Maybe tell us how you use LinkedIn. And a lot of people aren't even aware that you can automate a lot of the messages through LinkedIn. So I'd love to go into that. And Demi, the app we're using to edit reels is CapCut. I'll show you how we're editing them once we get into the IG section. I'll do it live and I'll edit a video for you. But all of the stuff that we may come back to, we may not. You're going to get a little piece of.
I'm so confused.
Yeah,
I keep going forward, but it keeps going backwards.
But it looks like it's going forward to me. There we go.
Cool. Awesome. And in fact, it's probably better. I could probably just share my screen because I was noticing that your presentation is just basically a duplication of what my slides are.
Oh, easy then. Let's do
So
that.
I'll just do this, and that way I can kind of like do some live shares of LinkedIn and LinkedIn events. But yeah, I mean, so you're talking about like organic content. You do webinars, you do live streams. You can then split them up and put them onto different channels like Instagram, business stuff, for business related things. That definitely belongs on LinkedIn. But one of the key components of LinkedIn is that they want your content to be unique, real, and organic. If they're seeing that you're just reposting a link to like a Keeping Current Matters news article or a Listening to Leads news article or something more generic, it won't get very much engagement. But if you're posting a raw video and you upload it as an MP4 within LinkedIn, you're going to get a lot more engagement, a lot more exposure, a lot more impressions, and it's going to raise your profile in the algorithm significantly. So, I mean, you introduced me a little bit. I'm a real estate agent, but I primarily spend most of my time running these real estate tech companies, MyLink Solution and SalesStream. And especially my key focus is LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you a little bit on how to generate high quality leads, how to automate your follow-up systems, and how to book dozens of new client appointments every single month by leveraging the power of LinkedIn. So some of you may know me and my brother already, but we're business partners. We run the O'Toole Group Real Estate as well as MyLink Solution. Last year, or in the past 2 years alone, we did over $85 million in sales, in real estate sales, and 15 million of that came directly from LinkedIn and the systems that are connected to LinkedIn. So what's been nice about our partnership is that we've been able to test everything that we're offering, everything that we use with our own real estate practice. We confirm that it works, and then we kind of put it out to the world. And again, our partnership works because we're so different. Me and my brother are so different. He's the one that runs real estate. He loves dealing with clients and escrows and negotiations and open houses. And I like the back end stuff. I like the technology, the marketing, the systems integrations. So our mottos are different. His motto is the harder you work, the luckier you get. My motto is the smarter you work, the luckier you get.
I like that, dude. It's a good combo.
Right? It works. It just simply works. And it's funny how we stumbled upon LinkedIn, because like when I first started in real estate about 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't really know how to generate leads. I had a background in data science and systems, and Sean was telling me to door knock and cold call and do all these things that I don't feel comfortable doing. We ended up kind of coming up with a strategy of doing home buying presentation, like lunch and learns with local tech companies in town. We've done one with Procore, Logic Monitor, and a few others. And we did one with Procore. That was our first one, and about 35 people showed up. But if you know the company, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people that work for the company, hundreds that work for the company in Santa Barbara. So I went into LinkedIn after that presentation, and I started to connect with each person manually at Procore. Hey, let's connect. When they connected with me, I then had a copy and paste script saying, hey, we just did a lunch and learn at Procore just a few hours ago. Not sure if you're able to attend, but the key takeaway is we're giving you up to $5,000 back at close of escrow if you let us help you with the next home purchase or sale, right? So we did a lunch and learn at their company. I then found all of their employees on LinkedIn. I connected with them, and I gave them the primary value proposition via LinkedIn. And we did about 5 million in sales just from that one little mini campaign, which was manual. So, that to me was like the big aha moment for, if that works so well manually, there's got to be a way that we can automate the system and do it at scale. And there was. So we then created a company, MyLink Solution, that has, we've been around for about 4 years now. We have plenty of testimonials, not going to go into those because some of them, which you know about, because I wanted to offer more value on this and get right to it. So I like to use LinkedIn as top of funnel, right? The reason why I like to use LinkedIn as top of funnel is because every new connection that you make on LinkedIn, you can have access to their contact information, their first name, last name, email, phone number if they provide it, title, company that they work for, etc. So, and if you use that information, even though all you are is a connection with them, you now have a bridge or some way to create that rapport to then remarket to them on Facebook, to send them an email mentioning your connection on LinkedIn, so it's not spammy, offering them additional value. But building out your network on LinkedIn is paramount for any business, because you're targeting your ideal customer profile, and then you're retargeting them on different channels of communication. And believe it or not, I mean, you were showing all the stats. It is still an underrated and an untapped channel. It is. And I am blown away at why it still is, given how much success I and all of our clients have had as well. People are still focused on Facebook, and Facebook's great. I think the problem with Facebook and Facebook ads, and sorry, Tristan, if I'm going to throw Facebook under the bus here, but I think Facebook has an algorithm where they put advertisements in front of people who have a higher propensity of clicking on links, right? Mm-hmm. And so if they do that, and if that is true, and you may correct me if I'm wrong, but that means if you're throwing out ads and so are 20 other agents, that same person is going to be clicking on the link from 20 other agents. They're going to be getting calls from 20 other people. LinkedIn is a direct message. It's from me to you, and you're creating a relationship. You're not creating a lead. So LinkedIn is a huge opportunity to create relationships, and organic relationships, and not just buy your way into business, right? Highest net worth per user. It's a professional network. People see who you are. They see all your experience. You can put up all of your accolades, all your degrees, all your certificates, all your successes in your career. It's like people get to know you before they even connect. I mean, imagine how hard it is when you're doing cold calling or door knocking. How hard is it to establish that trust with that person across the line in those few seconds that you have before they either hang up or close the door? But with LinkedIn, none of that really even occurs, because they're looking at your profile. They're deciding whether or not you're worthy enough to connect with them. And then that rapport is already being built prior to the connection. So if they connect, that means that they're ready potentially to engage with you. So
I'm gonna touch on something really quick here, because I want to really quickly show my LinkedIn, and then I'm going to steal your screen.
Go for it.
And show you then my LinkedIn. One of the things that we've noticed just over the last 2 years since running this podcast for Success Magazine is that the more researchers, scientists, authors, CEOs, executives I talk to, the more they tell me, oh, I'm only on LinkedIn. I only check my LinkedIn. And that really opened my eyes as to the power of LinkedIn, because you really want to change the quality of your leads on social media, you go here. And so that's why I worked with Casey to be able to grow our followers to 20,000 followers. He was actually very helpful in that for me. And then one of the things that he also taught me is in this section, when you edit, see if you can put your phone number on here, on your bio section. That's what I always do there, because now I'm going to go to Google so I can show you some things. Let's go to Casey O'Toole. Let's see what pops up. Very first thing that pops up is LinkedIn. And Google, well, Microsoft, LinkedIn has a deal with Google. So your social pops up here. Your LinkedIn social bio pops up here before everyone else, before anything else typically. If you go to mine, Tristan, Auhumada, and you see our website's there, LinkedIn is second. But look what pops up, because that's what people always look for, a phone number. You don't have to go anywhere else. Right. And then you go and scroll down, you find IG is actually towards the top, right? Which is great. And then YouTube and Facebook. But look at that. First two, my main website with my name on it, and then LinkedIn. That's the power of LinkedIn. And I don't post a lot to LinkedIn, right? But I do post some. But the fact that I post more to YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and LinkedIn is still above them, that's nuts.
Yep. And if you think about it, it makes sense. LinkedIn, I believe, leases the algorithm from Google. So of course, they would have a very similar algorithm. So you want to use the same, the same SEO strategies that you're using for your website on LinkedIn as well. So you want to have all of the right keywords. So if you're a realtor in Santa Barbara, you want to make sure that you put in Santa Barbara in like the key headlines. If you want to be promoting you're a top agent, a top listing agent, a luxury agent, whatever you want to be promoting, you want to have those keywords all throughout your profile, because those are the keywords that will then help populate when people search for realtor in Santa Barbara, luxury listing agent in Santa Barbara. That works a lot. So, and Tristan, interrupt me whenever you want, but I was just going to kind of go through some of the key things about, what to put on your profile, how to post things and how to connect, but yeah, pop in whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm probably going to steal your screen a couple of times on this. So go ahead. This is great. I like this because it's basic, but a lot of the times we miss this part. So go ahead.
Yeah, so this is just the standard profile that is currently on my LinkedIn profile. You'll see here I have 29,000 connections on LinkedIn now. I'm trying to focus more of my attention on real estate technology, growth technology, systems, digital marketing. So that's why I'm putting all of those keywords in my headline. We just launched another company called SalesStream. So I'm kind of putting that as like my top company that I work for. All the hashtags are Ventura, real estate, luxury home, Santa Barbara, lead generation. All of that is like the key SEO words that you want to be kind of pushing up into your profile. And also one thing that's nice about your connections, and I'll get into this in much more detail later on, again, is these 29,000 people are not the people that wanted to connect with me. These are the people that I wanted to connect with, right? So these are people that I would consider these my sphere, my leads, my ideal customer profiles. These are people who live in Santa Barbara, who are CEOs, founders, partners, directors of large companies that I want to be doing business with. So, and the fact that I have all of that data that I can then funnel into different systems, I can remarket to on Facebook using Ylopo, put them into my follow-up boss account, set them up on action plans, tag them. There's so much stuff you can do with those connections. So for the profile, keep it casual but professional. Headline, you want to make it specific but not salesy. I mean, we've all seen it, and I know Jeff always talks a little bit of trash about this, but if you see someone who sends you a connection request and says, I help realtors generate 100 leads in 2 days, don't connect with that person. because you're gonna guaranteed you're gonna be getting an immediate message and an immediate sales spammy message like a second later. So you want to make your headline specific but not salesy and interesting. Then with your
Really quick, Casey, we're getting the question, is this recorded? Yes, it is recorded. It's going to go on. Do yourself a favor, go to the chat right now. I just put the link. Click on the link. I'll give you 20 seconds. Click on the link and click subscribe, and then you'll get notified when the video goes up. It will be edited. And that's in case you missed the email that goes out with this whole video and the downloads. And yes, the slides will go with you as well. So Trenton's awesome slides. Great job, Trenton. I love them. So those will go out too. And there it is again, link. That's the short commercial for our YouTube channel right there. Back to you, Casey.
All right, back at it. Cool. So next is your experience and education. So again, talking about the whole LinkedIn SEO algorithm, you want to be able to leverage and use all of their assets. If there's a field that you can fill out on your profile, you want to fill it out, even if it's not necessarily relevant to your specific industry niche or preferred client database, whatever it is. You want your experience and your education to be exhaustive and prominent. So if you're just a standard realtor, right? You're a realtor with Keller Williams or EXP or whatever you are, sure, put that on there. But you're also a business owner, right? You own your own business. So I'm the owner of or co-owner of the O'Toole Group Real Estate, right? So that way it makes me seem a lot more prominent than just a realtor with Keller Williams, not just standard agent. So make yourself look exhaustive and prominent. Perception is reality. Recommendations, interests, skills, etc. All of those fields you want to fill out. You want to not only receive recommendations from people that you've done business with, but you also want to give recommendations to people that you've done business with. Have your interests on there. I have one person. I have a client who got a deal because he is a member of a jiu-jitsu studio based up in the Bay Area, and he messaged the owner of the jiu-jitsu studio, and he goes, "Oh, I know who you are. You work out in my studio. Like, I didn't know you were a realtor. That's great. Like, I would love to work with you." Like, so put in all of your interests. Some of our clients used to be in healthcare. Mel Parsons is one of our longest clients. She used to be a midwife. She's and she puts all of her healthcare experience on her LinkedIn profile, and she targets people in healthcare, and she messages them and says, like, "Hey, thank you so much for all your service. Like, I used to be a midwife. I know how hard this kind of career could be, but it's so important. I want to be able to help you out." And people like to do business with folks that they know, like, and trust. So that's how you can kind of garner that sort of know, like, and trust relationship.
I have a question here from the audience. Laron, what's up, Laron? I have an old LinkedIn account, and at that time I was an insurance agent, and I still do insurance. Should I just change that to me being a realtor or create a whole new page?
I would just change it, update it. Yeah, you want to so LinkedIn gives, well, first of all, you're only allowed to have one LinkedIn profile. So per their terms of service, you can only have one LinkedIn profile. So I would simply update your current LinkedIn, your old LinkedIn profile with all of your current information, and don't neglect to leave in the fact that you used to be in insurance. I mean, if you were in insurance, that means that you already know how to deal with clients, right? Sometimes clients can be a little ornery, and it's all good. You want everything to be on there.
Perfect. And then another question that I lost. Tips for LinkedIn page. That's for a real estate team, not an individual. Were you going to go over that too, or is it the same thing?
For a real estate team, well, each each individual real estate team should have their own individual real estate LinkedIn profile. But then I would also recommend having a real estate team page. So for example, I mean, we have a O'Toole Group real estate team page. So you want to be able to have your own individual profile because you're a unique person with unique experiences. But then you also want to have an O'Toole Group real estate or a Auhumada and Associates real estate page as well.
Perfect. I like that answer. And let me know when you want if you want to showcase the automation piece, so I can show people what happens, or you can show them how people are coming through on a daily basis from those messages that are going out.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, I'll get to that. So I'll kind of like run through this pretty quickly then, and I'll get to that because that's really important. So other things to do, LinkedIn events, that is huge. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. This is one of the key growth hacks that I've learned recently, which is actually what helped grow this webinar to over 1,500 registrations. Like I said earlier, you want your content to be organic, relevant, and native. No redirects, unless it's a Calendly redirect. Calendly, for some reason, works really well. If you're trying to have folks book calls with you, people recognize the name calendly.com/Tristan/book a call, right? So they aren't afraid of that. And then when LinkedIn gives you that warning of you're being taken away from LinkedIn, we don't know if this site is trustworthy. It's like they know it's trustworthy because it's Calendly. And you want to engage organically, post for your audience, make it relevant, all that stuff. So this is kind of when we start getting into some of the automation stuff that we do. What I like to say is if you're using automation, you want it to be organic and authentic automation. And before you do any of this, you want to define your objective. You then want to find commonality with your audience. And then you can exclude false positives or people that you don't want to connect with or you don't want to like automate messages with using Sales Navigator. Okay. So if you just start using automation tools, gosh, it's really coming down right now in Santa Barbara. If you're just using automation tools to connect and just to spam people to get their data, that is kind of a risky business. LinkedIn doesn't like it. They might put a restriction on your account. But if you have a specific objective with what you're trying to accomplish with LinkedIn, and you identify your audience really well and tailor your message to that person, it works extremely well. Let me show you one that has worked for us recently that is probably one of my favorites. And this one really took off during COVID, okay? So we all know that during COVID, companies started to allow folks to work remotely, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them took the opportunity to move their cities, like move away from their cities, but some of them did. One good current campaign is you can find people who currently live in your location, so Santa Barbara, California, but their company headquarters is located outside of Santa Barbara, California, right? So they live here, but their company is outside. Then you can also filter on seniority level, so partners, owners, VPs, CEOs, directors, and then to even like add like the sugar on top is I'm finding folks who went to UC Santa Barbara as well. So people who graduated from UC Santa Barbara, who are currently living in Santa Barbara, who work for a company outside of Santa Barbara, who have high seniority level. So they may have just gotten a job and they may want to relocate to the headquarters of that new company, right? And if that's the case, and if they have that high seniority level, they likely already own a home. They may need to sell the home. And then that means you get a listed house, and you also get to potentially get a referral when you refer that person to the location of their company headquarters. This one has worked extremely well. We just implemented it for one of our colleagues on our team, and a client is living in Ventura, and we put together a script saying, sorry, Santa Barbara. Hey, it's great to meet you. I just noticed that you live in Santa Barbara, but the company that you work for, whatever her company is headquartered elsewhere. I know it's hard to leave the area, right? My name's Casey. I'm a realtor and entrepreneur in Santa Barbara. I wanted to extend my services should you ever, relocate out of the area. My other company has a network of top realtors around the nation. Chances are I can find you a great realtor in your area. Let's hop on a quick Zoom call. And then here's my calendar for a Zoom call. So this gal, I think her name is Sarah, that's exactly what happened. She got a job in North Carolina, on the coast of North Carolina. She owns a home in Ventura. And so she needs to sell her house in Ventura, list it. And then we found her a realtor out in North Carolina as well. So this campaign is pretty key for the time being.
I like that, man.
It's a great one.
And so the whole automation component of this is there's 2,000 people in this search result. If I take away people that graduated from UCSB, there is 24,000 people who live in Santa Barbara, whose company headquarters is outside of California. And then you can automate connection request, follow-up message.
I'm going to steal your screen. I'm going to do something that you taught me. Okay.
Sure, go for it.
I'm going to showcase something, and I'm going to share pretty much what you're doing right here, but I'm going to start from scratch really quick so people can see. So here's your LinkedIn account. This is your main one. On the top left, you see how it says premium? That means we're paying for LinkedIn's paid version, which is Sales Navigator. It's up here. This is from LinkedIn. When I met Casey at Starbucks 8 years ago, and he said, "Hey, Tristan, I've got this amazing idea. It's called, we're going to call it My Link Solution. We're going to automate messaging and create opportunities." I'm like, "That sounds awesome. Show me what to do." He's like, "First, you need Sales Navigator. You need to pay for that." And that's about what, $80 a month from LinkedIn, about 100?
It's like 80 or $100 a month. Yeah.
All right. So that gets you into LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And so from there, then we pay Casey monthly about $200 or so. And then he creates this whole process and automates it. Now, this is partially what I'm going to show you. You see the lead factors up here. These are important because now it gives us the ability to connect with people in our area based on these items over here. You can see if I want to target the largest pharmaceutical in the world, which happens to be in Newbury Park, right where I'm at, I can do that. I can go to a current company and say, "Hey, you know what? Let's pick maybe the Rams organization, which is also in Thousand Oaks for football, or Amgen." I pick Amgen because they're massive, right? So I'm going to include Amgen. That's one filter. Now, all of a sudden, on the right-hand side, you see all the people that work close by that are connected to Amgen, right? Because I'm also going to see geography. Say, "Hey, you know what? Let's do Ventura County." And I know most of these people are going to be living and working here because we've got a lot of people here. Let's say I just want to do that, or if I want to focus on executives, right? I can do that as well as a role. But let's say I just want to do those two. And I want to, and this is from you, Casey, all of this I learned from you. But now let's say I want to say, okay, I've got this list. I'm going to select them all. And now this is where My Link Solution comes in, which is the messaging that's going to go to them is going to say something along the lines of, "Hey, I see that you work at Amgen. I live in Newbury Park as well, or I live in Thousand Oaks. We've got an amazing deal for everyone that works at Amgen. We're doing this specific thing. free home inspection, credit, whatever it is, right? Because you work here, right? And we value you. And you
Yep.
could do the same thing with police officers. You could do the same thing with nurses. You can do the same thing with teachers. Anything you want. This is the power of LinkedIn that nobody touches. And this is how we get business from this. So Casey, showcase the back end if you can on the automation so people can see that.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, there's so many things you can do. It's crazy. So like you were saying, using Sales Navigator is first of all key, right? So with Sales Navigator, you can find veterans that you can then target. Hey, I see that you're a veteran. Great. So am I. So, I mean, the whole point of this is that you want to create the rapport. You then want to offer value, and then you ask for business. If you ask for business immediately, you're going to get flagged. It's just not a good way of doing it. But if you target well and you create that rapport, hey, we went to the same university. That's great. How was your experience at UCSB? What was your major? Like, if you can kind of create that relationship first, then offer value. Hey, I'm offering like a Go Gaucho credit, or I'm offering a local heroes program where I give $2,000 back at close of escrow for anyone who's in law enforcement, anyone who's in healthcare, anyone who's in the military. Like, we want to help you. Like, if we want to offer you value, if you kind of come across with that mentality, that is the way this program works for you. Okay. You will do so much better if you do it in an organic, authentic way. So you find them on LinkedIn, and you can exclude false positives. You can exclude realtors, exclude mortgage professionals. You can exclude insurance agents. Or if you're recruiting, you can include realtors, include mortgage pros if you're trying to recruit. But then from there, what we do is we can put them into a specific connection campaign that is targeted towards. So this is past real estate tech companies. This was the one where it was company not headquartered in Santa Barbara, but prospect lives in Santa Barbara. This one is company headquartered in Santa Barbara, but prospect is not living in Santa Barbara. So it's the same kind of concept, but the opposite. So if they just got a job if they just got hired by Procore, but they're currently living in like Austin, Texas, we can say, hey, I see you just got a job at Procore. That's great, but you're living in Austin. Yeah. The headquarters is here. You're looking for a realtor, I can help you out. So you can kind of do it two different ways.
Casey, I want to interrupt you because on this part, we're getting some questions. Like you can do this on your own, guys. You definitely can. Nobody's saying that they wanted to. I'm just saying you can do this on your own, right? But it's been easier for us to outsource things through Casey. So Casey, I know that this wasn't intentional, but can you put up your link on there for your company if people do want to hire you? We were just trying to showcase how to do this.
Yeah.
So if you do have questions for Casey specifically on this part, you can go ahead and just message him directly. That's his website. They can do it for you. I know a lot of us are focusing on creating relationships, creating more business for ourselves, so we don't have time to do this part. So do yourselves a favor, grab that link, message him. He's done it for us ever since we met. I'm like, this is an amazing idea. Let's do this. So I don't have to worry about having to do this daily. Even though we know how to do it, we still focus on him helping us out. Jeff's also going to be talking about things that we should be posting on LinkedIn, because although Jeff's just going to talk about Instagram, he's really good on all platforms on the organic side. And so we're not going to completely end where you're going to just transition out, Casey. I think Jeff's going to bring in the organic piece of what should we be posting to get more engagement on. And I think that's key as well. So what else do you have for us, Casey? And then we'll transition over to Jeff.
Well, I'll just show you something that Jeff's doing, which is kind of cool. So what Jeff's doing, which is kind of cool, is you can do bomb videos within LinkedIn as well, and it animates the GIFs. So again, like video, short content, that's king, right? So if you can create a short GIF or a short bomb video, you can input that into the automation software, and then people are seeing this as their message coming in, and the chances of them clicking on this and seeing it are much higher. So that's a little precursor to what we're going to be doing with Jeff later on.
I like that, man. All right, what am I looking at right now? 300 to 500 connections, 100 plus conversations. What's this?
Yeah, so this is just some of the, so again, like we said earlier, Tristan, you can do all of this manual. In fact, I started out initially with LinkedIn doing it all manual. Then we created this automation software that does it for you automatically. So all of the strategies that we just explained, you can do it yourself. If you use our services, you can get 300 to 500 plus connections a month, over 100 conversations a month, and 10 plus meetings a month. Okay. So you're going to be exploding your sphere of influence. You're going to be exploding your contact database. You're going to be exploding all of your relationships that you can then retarget and put through different channels of communication. I mean, I have 29,000 connections now. Those 29,000 connections are now seeing me on Facebook. They're in my newsletters. They're getting emails from me from time to time, not all the time. I'm inviting them currently into a Facebook group. I'll show you one that I'm doing now, which is kind of fun. Is we use a cold email software called Instantly, and I took this trick from Blair Ballin, who's a friend of ours too. Yeah. But what I'm doing is I'm taking Brooks' LinkedIn new connections and Sean, my brother's new LinkedIn connections, and I'm automatically bringing them using Zapier into Instantly, and I'm sending, look at a 76% open rate, a 5% reply rate, and the sequence is very simple. Just coming from value, saying, hey, you're connected with my colleague, Brooke Weiner, on LinkedIn. She wanted me to reach out to you directly, invite you to our new Facebook group for local Ventura County residents. Then this link here goes directly to our Living Local Ventura Facebook group, which is where we're going to showcase, referrals and contractors, but we're the ones that own and operate that. And we're getting probably 5 to 10 new member requests a day, just from those automations. That's pretty cool, man. I didn't know that part. I just learned something new. Casey, you're going to have to talk to Trenton so we can put that into play. I know, we can do that. Yeah. So I love that. And also, Casey, people are having questions like, can you help me with LinkedIn, setup, profile, all this stuff? Or can you speak here and we'll pay you? If you want to hire Casey for anything, Casey, where the hell do we go to hire you? So easiest place is MyLink Solution, which is our website. But my calendar, I put it on there as well. CaseysCalendar.com is where it is. I'll be holding kind of like weekly LinkedIn coaching calls as well. CaseysCalendar.com. And then there's also a Facebook page, LinkedIn Leverage and Sales. I'll put that in there too. Yeah, this is actually one I'm trying to grow a lot more. So okay, I would say let's join me in here and ask questions. This is where we were talking about earlier, where I want to like meet people where they are, and not everyone's on LinkedIn. And so I would much rather bring them over to Facebook too, if that's what they want. Where's it open? All right, dude, let's have people contact you, and then let's transition over to Jeff. Let me do one other thing quick, Tristan, if you don't mind, and then I'll shoot. And then I'll do this too, because it's out of the way. So yeah, data, you can get it over to Follow Up Boss, whatever CRM you want. But I wanted to also bring up the different funnels that we've created using SalesStream. So this is our new CRM. Like I said, we have MyLink solution as our top of funnel. We then leverage Zapier instantly to bring people into SalesStream, which is our CRM. We have current customized campaigns that are focused towards realtors, and there's a lot of stuff that we're doing right now. So I want to just mention that. We can maybe have another webinar later on that, Tristan, if you want. But if you also wanted to get the LinkedIn Success Playbook, which I created, you can scan that little code there, and you'll get access to a customized action plan.
Okay, I'm scanning now. That was good, man. Thank you. There's a lot of information. This is recorded going on to our YouTube channel, and now we're going to transition over to Instagram. Casey, stay on if you want. You can always chime in and show us how Instagram is different than LinkedIn. And Jeff, welcome, man.
Hi, guys. Well, first of all, I as I teach this and talk to people about this, my recommendation is that Instagram should be your cornerstone platform. And here's why. Not to knock LinkedIn by any stretch of the imagination, because I use it clearly, Casey showed you. But I think that most listeners, most audiences, most professionals, they're all on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. But Facebook is the retirement home of social media platforms, as I so eloquently describe it. And there's a lot less tools and features there. And so when you're thinking about actually becoming a creator and using this to grow your business and make more connections, you need to become a better creator. And so to be a good creator, you need to use the platforms that give you the most tools. And technically, Tristan, as you know, TikTok is the best, but yep. TikTok is very independent, and not everybody likes TikTok for a lot of reasons. So I suggest Instagram. And the other reason is Instagram is owned by Facebook. It talks to Facebook. So when you're posting to Instagram, now you're killing two birds with one stone. So it's going back and forth. And so you're just multiplying your content. So I think it's a place to start. I think it's where everybody should start. It's where you should build your cadence and then work from there.
All right. And I just shared your profile name. So everyone, do me a favor, follow Jeff, click on the link, follow him on Instagram. You can see what he's doing, and you can see what's trending, because he does a lot of that as well. So when you're looking at LinkedIn, and then we'll transition into what you post on Instagram. When you're looking at LinkedIn, what are the opportunities you see as far as posting organically there?
Well, for me, LinkedIn is I'm spreading the content that's applicable to LinkedIn. So, I'm using it just like I'm using everything else. The biggest difference with LinkedIn, as Casey probably told you guys, I wasn't on the entire time, but it's the platform where you can target. And you can't target on Facebook anymore. You can't target on Instagram anymore. And you can get really intricate targeting tools with LinkedIn. And so as Casey showed, I'm blasting out those video messages, and I'm getting a pretty decent reply rate, because honestly, the way they present themselves is that I sent a private message to them. And so I think the people that are replying feel important. And so it's creating that opportunity to have conversations. Now, I think the LinkedIn user is less of my audience. But I dabble with things over there, as Casey knows, and I'll sometimes, like, for the most part, I'm putting out social medias type stuff because we're trying to grow Drunk on Social. But every once in a while, I'll slap over to real estate and mortgage, and if there's something relevant that I can pop out, and I'll send Casey a message and be like, hey man, I want to target this specific company because I heard this, and then bam, we do it. And so there's a lot of really cool features that I can't do that anywhere else. And so it's like, if you hear about maybe for a real estate perspective, you hear about a big company in your market that just had a big shift, and maybe there's going to have an influx of people moving to your city as a result, or people moving out of the city as a result. Like, it's a great opportunity now to go in and target those companies, and maybe position yourself as the realtor to sell their homes, or be the buyer's agent. Figuring out how you can be as consistent as humanly possible. And so the two places that I lean is my stories and reels. And so stories are, there's a couple of things about stories that I want you to change the lens on how you look at them. So first of all, stories is a great place to just practice. You can vomit your life on your stories, and there's no expectation for perfection. There's no expectation for editing, captions, anything. Literally take a picture of the birds that are outside my window right now, post it to my stories, and whatever, right? It's just who I am as a human. Take a picture of the bowl of cereal I'm eating for breakfast, whatever. It's just display. It's the story of your life. But the thing about stories is that, so that there's that you can practice, you can post consistently. It gets you kind of in a cadence. But where does stories show up? At the very top. What do people see the minute they open up Instagram? Whether they're opening up stories or not, they're seeing those bubbles at the top. So if I'm not posting consistently to my stories every day, then my bubble, if I don't have something active, they only last 24 hours. And so if I don't have something active, my bubble's not showing up. And the way I look at my bubble is also a billboard. It's a billboard that you might be driving by every single day that you open up Instagram. And so I know that if I'm consistently sharing to my stories, that I'm increasing the chances that you drive by my billboard every single day. And I'm just hacking your brain, like a top of mind awareness, right? And then reels is where you put out the profound stuff. That's where you put out the stuff that you want to be known for. It's a little bit longer, sub 90 seconds. And the reason why I lean into reels over feed, well, one, it's video, and video content pretty much dominates now. But I use my reels, and so my reel shows up on the reels feed. It shows up on my feed, and then I share my reels to my story. So now I'm taking one piece of content and multiplying it 3 places on that platform. And then it's also automatically posting over to Facebook. So I'm killing multiple birds with just one stone. And frankly, it's, as you've all probably heard or know, it's the feature within the platform that they are pushing the most. So is Facebook. And so you want to be leaning into reels as much as possible right now.
True. I know Trenton has some slides as you're talking about. So Trenton, anytime you want to jump in and throw out whatever. Oh, there you go. So stories versus reels, Jeff, if you want to explain this so that people understand the biggest difference.
The difference between stories and reels? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I describe it, you can obviously, this is a great slide. Stories are, it's your behind the scenes. It's giving people that backstage pass to your life. And that's why people are on social. In case anybody wasn't aware of that, no one ever opened up Instagram and said, I'm really excited to learn about the latest update, the latest Monday market update. Said no one ever.
Let me open up Instagram to go look at the marketing update.
Never, ever. They're not interested in that kind of stuff. We just vomit it because we think that's what we're supposed to be putting out. But the reality is everybody is on social media because it is our entertainment. 10 years ago, we get home from work and watch, our shows every day of the week. We had our different shows that we'd watch for 2 or 3 hours. Now we spend all of our time, scanning social. And the funny thing is, and a lot of you don't even realize you do this. I just caught my wife doing it the other day. We turn on television and then get on our phones. It's what we do. It's the new Seinfeld. Like that's what it is. And so give people what they want for why they're there, which is mindless entertainment. It's entertainment. It may be some edutainment. But it's a backstage pass. People want relatability. And although you might think you're sharing something is stupid or boring, I'm telling you right now, it's your business content that's stupid and boring. It's you sharing what you're doing every single day that creates that relatability that now creates that engagement because somebody's actually interested. They're actually something that you guys have in common that they might comment on. And now all of a sudden you're hacking into their algorithm. And that's the name of the game here. The name of the game is to create more connections with human beings so that business content that you spew out every once in a while actually shows up. But if you're leaning and if you're one of those realtors, and there's a lot of them out there, so I'm not picking on anyone, but if I open up your Instagram feed, all I'm going to see is one big commercial. And then if I look through your feed, unless you're buying engagement, you're not going to get organic engagement that way because nobody's wanting to be sold to, And so that's why I love stories, because it's a great way to give a backstage pass to your life. And as you know, Tristan, I mean, if you go to my Instagram, pretty much every other post of mine is very authentic and just real. And so I'm just constantly documenting my life, and it's just creating a lot of relatability. My life with my wife is probably very similar to most couples. And the difference between me and you is I'm documenting and sharing it. And I get more engagement and more people commenting and tagging their spouse and commenting, oh my gosh, that's so relatable. Oh my gosh, we're the same way. And you know how many strong parasocial relationships I'm creating with people. And what ends up happening there is business comes from that, because people would rather do business with someone that they feel comfortable with. And I argue that, or debate that all the time, Tristan, especially with kind of old school mindsets, that traditional ways of doing business still work. But I would put my way up against their way all day long, because as these new generations of humans are starting to infiltrate our business, which is millennials and Gen Z, which have yet to really get into our business and buy homes, they don't like old school means of communication. Tristan, you did a post the other day. They don't want you to call them. That's invading their privacy. That's annoying them. They don't like answering phones. Most of that younger generation doesn't even like to text anymore. They want to be communicated with through DM or through Snapchat. That's just the reality. That's where it's going. And that generation wants to get to know someone. So they basically will dictate and decide who they want to work with based on who they can go get the feels with on social before they even entertain a phone call.
Good point, man. It's a very good point. I didn't think about it that way. When I posted that, by the way, I was tired of doing Zooms. I'm like, another Zoom? Can we just freaking go on the phone and talk? I'm tired of having to see people's faces when it's just a phone call. In fact, I just want to text you. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I just want to text.
Well, that's a description. We're Gen Xers. We like to text. So we're technically becoming, as my kids, they call me a boomer. I'm not a baby boomer, but they call us boomers because we're old and we do it differently. But I'm starting to embrace that and realize that most consumers, especially in this fast forward world, and I'm not talking in the next few years, as AI becomes a bigger part of our lives, and VR becomes a bigger part of our lives, and blockchain's coming into our industry. People want to establish and get to know people. Like, social media is the new Yellow Pages. Yeah. Anybody remember back when you had that big yellow book and that's how you found a business? Yeah. Now it's through social.
Yeah. You know what? You're right on that. I want to answer a question, because I think, Sarah, great question. She says, I totally get this, but again, how do we do this for real estate teams? It's great for individuals, but how do you get a VA to do videos of everyday life or backstage pass? I think I want to take this on, Jeff, and then you add, you enhance my comments. Okay,
cool.
So I'm currently running the social media for different companies, so massive brokerages, 80,000 agents plus, and the biggest challenge is being able to bring all of these agents together so that it showcases like one family. And I think what you're thinking of, Sarah, and other people out there, is you're thinking, well, I have this business page for, let's say, Jeff Pfitzer and Associates, right? Or Pfitzer Media. And does that mean everyone has to go on there and showcase what they're doing and kind of bring everybody together? Well, you have two options. One, you can use the Pfitzer Media to showcase your accolades, to showcase what the company is doing. Very similar to what Instagram's does. You look at Instagram's main feed, they're showing you what the newest things are, and they're bringing in some of the great influencers that they have. In your case, team members, showcasing them is extremely important. It's like where all of them go to showcase what we're all doing separately. And then the individual ones is what showcases what we're doing at our home, what we're doing when we're working, very similar to what Jeff does, right? So they stand for different things. Even Mosseri, who's the CEO, Adam Mosseri, who's the CEO of Instagram, look at his and he's showcasing different things than what the main Instagram channel is doing. So I think we're overthinking it here. Whereas let's just be authentic as possible with our individual ones, and then that authenticity that we bring individually, we can group that into the main business one, and then pepper in what's happening in your corporate world. Right?
Mhm.
That's the key right there. Anything I missed, Jeff?
No, I mean, that's spot on. And you're right. Everybody, we are overthinking this, and it's a combination of thinking, why does anybody care? Or I noticed a comment, my life's not interesting. And I get that a lot. But what you have to understand is that, again, what is the psychology behind why people are opening up these apps? And we have been inundated over the last however many years with reality TV that isn't actually reality. It's, it's the Kardashians' reality, but that's a dream world that none of us will ever live. And all of these reality TV shows are actually people that live in mansions and have, butlers and chefs and all this stuff. And the younger generations, as we study with, especially with Gen Z, they're changing the narrative on what their expectation is. And they're sick and tired of that perfect expectation. Like there's songs now about, like knocking Victoria's Secret down. Like we're done with this, like no more perfection. Let's be real now. And so Gen Z is going to change the narrative on what we will see. And you see this in stores. There's mannequins now with beer bellies. I mean, like that never existed in our world. Now but that's real. Right. And so it's just showing that what people actually want is to relate. And so I'll give a great example. I had somebody in one of my classes in Atlanta once, and she raised her hand, and I was talking about all this stuff, talking about pillars of content. And she said, Jeff, I look at you and like, you have a really cool, like a pretty cool life. Like you're entertaining and you're funny and you travel and you do these things. Like, I get it. Like it makes sense. She goes, I'm a single mom. I'm a full-time nurse, part-time realtor. And so my day looks like this. I get up in the morning and get them ready for school. I go to my nursing job. I come home, it's homework, and then it's making dinner. And then if I have time for myself, maybe I'll watch TV, maybe I'll scroll social, maybe I'll deal with real estate, and then I go to bed. And that's my life. And I said, you actually have a distinct advantage over me, because your life is so normal and so relatable to so many other people that are going to look at you. If you start documenting and sharing that stuff, they're going to be like, oh my God, I feel you. I'm also a single mom. Oh my God, I also have dual career, and that then brings people in, and they have that strong connection to you. That's where you win. It's so hard to win business by being the best realtor who's the biggest expert, because now we're swimming in a diluted pool of everybody else. Where you differentiate yourself is who you are as a human being. And you're going to, like, here's the other problem, Tristan, that the previous, I guess, generation, I don't know if generation is the right word, but the way social media has been kind of brought into our world is virality. Like, when you post, did you get a lot of views? Did you get a lot of likes? And that's changing. Even the platforms are now giving you the option to not even show that stuff anymore, because it's changed the way we think, and virality is just vanity. The thing is most of us aren't going to have tens of thousands of followers, and we're going to have videos that get 1 million views. Like, that's just not going to happen. And if we do, we got lucky, pure luck. And so what you have to understand is, when you lean into the things that make you a human. So for me, I belong to a country club and I play golf. I feed my birds very regularly. I have a family. That's my life. I'm into fitness and diet. And so all I did was just think about it. Like, I don't want to create more work for myself. So what am I already doing? That's how I'm going to define myself. I'm just going to turn the camera on my life more often. And then I'm going to create pockets of raving fans. The people that are into golf may also not be into the birds. So now I got a pocket of maybe a couple hundred people here, and then a couple hundred people over here. And when you think about it, now my SOI through social is maybe 1,000 people. When I think about pre-social, I didn't have those pockets. And so now I have the opportunity to connect and with people that I never otherwise would have had the opportunity to connect with. And now they become my raving fans. They love my content. They're sharing my content. That's where the rubber meets the road on social. It's not about views. It's not about likes. It's about shares. It's about saves. It's about engagement, comments, because comments are where allows you to comment back. Shares means they're marketing me for me. Saves mean I'm doing so well, they want to watch it again.
Jeff, how do we identify what content to place out there?
Establish your pillars first. So
How
everything
do
that
we do that?
everything that I just described, sit back and think about what it is that you're doing every day. So you're all going to have, I have 5 primary pillars, and then I have sub pillars underneath them. And so my pillars are defined by, real estate and mortgage, because that's my business. I have a second business. It's called social media and video. I have my personal life, which is my family. And then I have hobbies. And so, I through like some of the hobbies that I do most consistently. And then I have fitness and diet, because there's sub pillars under there as well. And so those are, like I said, those are just, I'm not overthinking. Like I figured out a long time ago that I had that paralysis by overanalyzing what should I be posting. And then I figured out.
Jeff, I want to showcase something you and I did for one of our coaching clients.
Yeah.
Because she's been overthinking things for a long time. And if she's on, she knows, and we love her. Her name is Valerie. And
yeah.
Jeff and I have been saying, Valerie, you have an amazing opportunity to connect with your audience through your mom, because her mom's, you know what, I'll just play the short little video. This was a coaching session that Jeff and I had with her, and we decided to take it upon ourselves to edit so that she could see the power of what she was missing. Let me grab it. 60 seconds. It's just in conversation. And this is how it goes. Let me turn up the volume. Let me see if I can turn up the volume there. If not, I'll send it over to you guys to watch anyways. It's on her. You know what? I'll just throw it on here. Her name is Valerie. She put it up on here, didn't she? I'd rather just show it here. Valerie Van de Zilver. And there it is right there. Let me go to Reels, and I'm going to play it. Let me switch over my screen so I can see it better. And turn up the volume. There we go.
The other night I went to show her an assisted living property, and I walked in, and the girl who was going to take us on the tour said, "Oh," she said, "you look just like your mom." How do you think I felt? I said to her, "Well, unfortunately, I don't take that as a compliment. My mom is 103. I thought I was really mad. When I got home, I was still really mad." And so Peter comes up and he said, "Sweetheart, what can I do to make you not feel so mad?" Well, I didn't want to make my mom feel bad. I hadn't told her how I felt. Then I said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you. I don't want to look like I'm 103. I said, "Anyway, how did she know?" Because we had to wear masks, because they were all on quarantine for COVID there. They made us put a mask on, tried to convince me that, that she didn't mean it that way. That actually it was a compliment, that we looked like sisters. I said, "Oh, I'm just didn't take it that way."
Which was hilarious to me. And look at the comments. Like,
Mhm.
this is important, right? Besides this spam one. But you're beautiful. Oh, Valerie, you're the best. He. Loved watching this. Your sweet mom. This is amazing. All the best. Like, this keeps going, right? So this is the authentic piece that you reminded me of, Jeff, when you said that. I thought that was important.
Yeah. And to me, knowing Val and knowing her story, I'm blown away. Her mom is 103 and still lives independently. That's insane. I'm just floored by that. I'm like, I would watch your content, because that is just fascinating to me.
Me too.
And I'm like, if I feel that way, there's probably several hundred, maybe thousands that will also feel the same way. And then they're just going to feel connected. And before you know it, people are going to want to use you. That's just the way it works. I think, Tristan, the hardest part for a lot of people to understand is that we have sales breath. I don't know where this started, but we get into our businesses and we just automatically assume that this is how, well, if I'm going to use social for business, I have to talk about business. But that's where we're doing it all wrong. And frankly, sadly, a lot of our industry, a lot of leaders in this industry have been telling you to do it this way, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They think they know, but I'll tell you what, most of them aren't even practicing themselves. And so you got to really be very choosy on who you're learning from. And my recommendation to anyone there's a lot of experts on social media now. And so my opinion is make sure that your expert, and then many of you probably all have different ones. Go make sure they're practicing what they preach, because if they are, that means it works. But if they're just preaching and they don't display what they're preaching, it means they're just regurgitating what somebody else told them. And they're just using it as, they're just taking a microphone and a camera, because we all have that platform now. And so, just, I would say pay very close attention, because there's going to be very few of you that go on social and your primary strategy is your business and you actually have success with it. You're going to be the anomaly. I'm not saying it can't work. It can, but most people aren't on social for that.
On that, Jeff and I have such different styles for what we post on social, and both work at an extremely high level. That's the coolest part. It's like, I focus a lot more on information in general, like news and real estate stuff. And Jeff does focus a lot more on connecting with his audience through his personal life. And he does an amazing job of it. So I think you need to take a look at who you're listening to. Just jump on ours. Look, this is TikTok. Some of them aren't the greatest, but I've got 12,000, 300,000. You scroll through just the last few weeks, I've got 29,000, 7,000. You've got some for 67,000. 26,000, 1.5 million, right? You've got to understand, like, who are you listening to that does this routinely, so that you understand that what we're telling you actually works. Like, and Jeff is the same thing. Follow him on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else. I think that the key is you've got to be going deeper in whatever your pillars are, right? Whatever it is. You've got to test it out enough to realize, okay, this actually didn't work after testing it out for 3 months, or this did. And a lot of us give up easily, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's a great point. And, we as an industry, there's a reason why we're targeted by pretty much every piece of technology that exists, because we chase after everything. And we all are willing to throw money at so many different things. And most of us vacate those things after 3 to 6 months. And I don't think there is a tool that exists that is get rich quick. If it was, we'd all be doing it, right? And even when you look at, I'll use farming a neighborhood. You talk to any professional who's done this at a high level, they're going to tell you, if you're going to commit to farming a neighborhood, doing 2 mailers a month, you better be willing to commit to 2 to 3 years of this to really feel the impact. Now, you might get lucky in the first 6 months, but most likely it's going to take repetition over time. If you buy leads from any aggregator, we all know they suck. And the ones who are the most successful with it are the ones who nurture not 10 touches in the beginning. It's the 100th touch 18 months later that turns into the transaction. And that's why most of us suck at leads, because leads is a long game. It's always very top of funnel. And so, and that's why when we talk about social, there's got to be that commitment, and you've got to know that you're going to commit time to this. But here's the difference, folks. Mailers, for example, leads, for example, all these other options that you have, this one can be very free. Just commit to the process, build in that muscle memory. Like if you got to January 1st and said, I'm going to lose 15 pounds this year, or I'm going to run my first 5K. What did you do? You didn't run a 5K on Jan 1. You have to, it's a process you're committing to, your process of going to the gym and eating right. And so this is the same thing. And so it's just a process, commit to it, understand that it is prospecting, and allocate 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours a day, and just make sure you're using that time effectively. Don't go down the rabbit hole. Like, you've got to be very intentional about your time. Social media, it can't be an entertainment tool for you anymore. It's got to be a creation tool and a connection tool. And if you have time, then you can scroll it. But I know a lot of people, Tristan, that we've coached that I opened up Instagram with intent to do something, and then an hour later I was watching just a bunch of French Bulldog reels, and it's like, and now you're pissed. Yeah, I mean, we're all guilty of it. I mean, I go in all the time with intent, and I catch myself. I'm like, damn it, get back to task.
Last night I sent you I sent you a crazy TikTok and you were
that was
like,
crazy.
what the fuck is this?
That was my response to you, was WTF. Yes, that's exactly right.
Oh,
Wait, Jeff, I have to jump in and ask a quick question for you, because I'm probably like a lot of people out there where I get nervous or in front of cameras, and I don't love putting out video content, and I just get I'm afraid. I'm an introvert. I'm cool behind a screen webinars if I know what I'm talking about, but if I have to create something new and innovative and creative, it's hard. But what I have done recently that has kind of worked, and I want to kind of see what your thoughts on this is I've written scripts, because I'm better at writing than I am speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I've then put them into Chat GPT to kind of give me like a variation of that script. I then record that script of myself reading it, like kind of in a more energetic way with a teleprompter and all that stuff. Then I put slides to it. Is there like, do you have any kind of creative ways of getting around that like video anxiety, like what I just did, but maybe in a better way? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the best way, in my opinion, is, so first of all, you use the word create, and creation requires creativity. Creation requires some skill levels that many of us don't have. And so you got to look at it as documenting, because here's the thing: as you lean into the things that you're passionate about, you're an expert at that, whatever it is. Like if you have children, you're an expert because by default you've raised them, and you can say that you're an expert. I'm not saying you're going to go on social and be like, I'm an expert parent, but you can talk about it confidently and share things. Again, I'm a 13 handicap, 12.9 to be exact. I'm far from a professional golfer, but when I compare myself to the masses, I'm a better golfer than most, because most either don't play at all or whatever. So by default, I can talk confidently about things. So when you're getting over that fear of the camera, you'll find that it's actually easier to talk about the things that you have the most passion about, because we can sit around a table and I could pick things from you, Casey, that you're an expert at and that you could just vomit on for probably hours. And those are the things that you have to identify within yourself to say that needs to become a pillar of content, because I'm confident, I know it, I like it, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to share more of it. And so it just becomes the conversation of documenting. Now, what you did is something I wholeheartedly agree with. Like I think I'm pretty good at video, but what I found from an efficiency hack was that oftentimes when I have that narrative for the idea in my head, usually I'm running, I'm driving, or somewhere where I can't just stop and shoot a video. I'm in the shower, right? And so, and even if I stopped right there, I had that perfect script in my head. As soon as I press play, it doesn't come out the same way. And so I learned that I can take that really fantastic idea, type it into a script exactly the way I want it to say, put it into a teleprompter, and then pretend like I'm not reading it. And it's actually, with a lot of practice, you get really good at that. If you go watch my videos, almost the vast majority of those, the talking head ones, are scripted, and you can't tell I'm reading a script because I'm using a mobile teleprompter. And I just know how to, use emotion and tonality and make it seem like it's real. And it's kind of a hack. And I highly recommend it. But Tristan, on the other hand, hates teleprompters. So it's like everybody's different.
I hate teleprompters because I always feel locked into saying that exact same thing, and I'm more off the cuff. On what Casey is saying, remember, this is recorded, so I'm about to go really fast. This is recorded, so go back to this section. I'm going to go to exactly what Casey said. This is ChatGPT Plus. I'm paying $20 a month for it. I'm going to type in really quick, write me an article about the top things all buyers for homes should watch out for. Now, as it's typing this up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paraphrase some of these items as they come out, and I'm going to sometimes replace some of these. So like Casey said, I typed in some things, I got the bullet points. Number one thing it's coming up with is location. Sure, I can agree with that. Number two is condition of the property. We can certainly add inspectors in there. Now, as it keeps going, I'm going to pick one of these. I'm going to pick one of these and I'm going to talk about it on social media. I'm going to say, you know what? Actually, age of the property is never talked about. I would love to talk about this one, right? So I'm going to grab age of the property. That's going to be the video that I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to just turn around my phone because we're real estate agents. We have the experience, we have the knowledge, and then I'm going to be talking about age of the property. If I need to know more information, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to put it at the bottom and start a new search. Be like, give me a paragraph on age, how important it is that the property be either newer or remodeled because of certain issues of the home. Give me those issues. So now that I've got all, well, it only gave me 8, but now that I've got my topic, right, I'm going to go ahead and grab all of this, right? This is an assumption that you're going to go and paraphrase this and make this pretty, right? I'm going to go to Google Docs. I'm going to start a new one. I'm going to dump it in here and I've got 8 things. I'm going to PDF it really quick. I'm going to create download a PDF. I'm going to title it 8 things buyers need to know. Now it's going to save as a PDF. Then I'm going to go on Instagram. I'm going to turn around my camera and then I'm going to show you. I'm going to be like, hey, everybody, these are 8 things that you need to know when buying a home for the very first time. And maybe if you've already bought homes before, number 1 is the age of the home. And then I'm going to go into that. And then I'm going to say, if you need the whole list, do me a favor and DM me and I'll send it over to you. What happens then is people then start DMing you and asking you for this PDF that took you how long to make? Not very long. And if you watch this, I did the exact same thing.
The AI marketing tools that I'm giving out for free for 3D art, for avatar, copywriting, code assistant, design assistant, education assistant. Yeah, it keeps going. DM me and I'll send it over to you and follow me for more.
And how many DMs did I get? I got over 200 DMs in a day. So even if you get 5, these are people that have questions about homes. All right, that was the 5 minutes. You guys can rewind that later. There you go.
Cool.
I've got a couple of things I want to say too. I noticed people are commenting about the LCM strategy. I'm going to give you guys a strategy here before we finish that I've been talking to my loan officers about. That doesn't require you to post, and I think it's a very powerful strategy that's built off the LCM. Another thing I'm going to mention is some people have asked for teleprompter. I use Prompt Smart Pro. There's a paid version. It's a more intuitive than Big View. I like it better than Big View. It's just got a few more tools. It has the voice activated teleprompter feature, which I like better than a timer. So it's just my opinion on that. It just depends on where you want to be. Judith, I see she said that she made the comment that none of my ideas seem share worthy. That a great point that I want to bring up to all of you. If you listen to most social media experts, they're going to tell you that you need to find your niche. And you need to figure out what your niche is, and that needs to be like the focal point of your content. And I will tell you they're right, but they're also wrong. And here's where I say they're wrong. Because we, as we get into this strategy, we get onto social media and we try to dictate what we want our niche to be. We try to dictate for our audience what our niche is going to be. Your audience will dictate what your niche is going to be. And that's the mistake that I think so many of us make on social. I want to be known as this real estate agent of this community, so I'm going to go all in. And then your content pretty much falls on deaf ears because your audience isn't interested. And so this is why we're big advocates of pillars of content, of throwing everything up against the wall to see what sticks. And so most social coaches will tell you, stop doing that. Focus on one. But you can't focus on one until your audience dictates what they want. And you got to figure that out by throwing shit up against the wall. And so if you have gone down that path of you found a niche and it's not working, well, that's why, because you're trying to dictate for your audience what they want. And it's got to be your audience dictating what they want. And so we all are going to think we're boring, but I'm telling you right now, there's a lot more boring people, I'm going to put that in quotations, in this world that will relate to your boring life. And so don't overthink it, because I know Casey probably thinks that I've had many, conversations about this kind of stuff. And there is a lot of people that are just like Casey out there in the world that would totally relate to all of the quirky things that he might be into on a personal level. I mean, honestly, I can pick on Tristan because we're very close friends. I know him very well. I know his quirkiness. I make fun of his quirkiness all the time. But it's so relatable. I mean, he starts going down these tangents talking about video games and Star Wars. And I'm like, dude, knock it off, you dork. But then the reality is there's a lot more dorks out there. I'm just saying that in a nice way. It's so relatable. It's so relatable. And so it's like we get in our own way. And I think, honestly, Tristan, if you rewound the clock 5 to 10 years and you watched me on social, which has more of a, I don't know what the word is, but just more of an outgoing personality on social, I think that can be intimidating. And so I think it's important for you to find the people that are like you, because they will inspire you. And so just know that you're not different. You're actually normal. You're the one that's far more normal, and you just need to lean into it, because what is it, Tristan? 1% of social media users are creators. 9% are light engagers, and 90% are just lurkers. And what that tells me is there's massive opportunity on social, because most of your audience, your consumer, it will always just be a consumer, a lurker. And so if you put yourself in that 1% and get over the fact that nobody's going to care, you'll be surprised. Start posting. And all of a sudden you're going to start having conversations with people that you've never had conversations with before. And it changes the game.
Jeff, where do we coach with you in group coaching? Which means we coach them together.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
where do we go?
Go to drunkonsocial.com, click on Hire Us. And right at the very top, there's actually, we just rolled out a new package, an insider package, but the group coaching is the first availability there. And then you can go peruse all of our packages, but we do consultations. In fact, I had 2 this morning where we're kind of guiding people. And it's funny, actually, and I'll bring up both consultations this morning. Both of them, one real estate, one mortgage. And the real estate agent wants to lean into, she's been being told, she's got a story. She's come from, I think she had an abusive relationship and all of these things that make her very human. And she's always been very afraid to share that. She's become a very spiritual person. And I had a couple conversations with her, and I'm talking about how she needs to share that story, and how that is what is going to create so much connection with so many human beings, because you're going to be willing to share that story that most of us aren't willing to share. The mortgage guy said, I want to sign up with you guys, but I'm having kidney surgery. He's having a kidney transplant, like serious shit here, right? And he's like, in March. So I want to wait until after I do that. And I said, you might want to wait to sign up with us, but you want to start sharing about this journey that you're about ready to go on immediately. And we got talking about it, and he's like, oh gosh, yeah, I didn't think about that. I'm like, dude, do you know how many people are gonna find inspiration through you? They're gonna find relatability to you. And I said, you need to share this journey, man. You gotta just start turning on your camera and talking about it. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm gonna help walk them through that, on what that looks like. And
Jeff, next month we do TikTok and YouTube, or TikTok and Facebook? What should we do? Oh man, what if we do TikTok?
Probably its own
what if we do TikTok and YouTube for 2 hours and bring in Austin maybe next month?
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, let's do TikTok and YouTube next month. And then Trenton, obviously you're invited. Casey, if you want to jump in too, you're always invited on this. TikTok and YouTube, that's a really good combo. Let's go deep on that. And guys, we talk about all of this stuff daily. We have our own Facebook little group chat. It's a chat. It's more like a messenger. So if you ever want to jump into Drunk on Social and hire us, we can do that. If you want to hire Casey, you know how to get to him. If you have any questions for Trenton, how do people get a hold of you?
They can find me on Instagram. I'll drop it in there right now.
Bodin. Wait, what's the 37? What's that?
That's like my favorite number since I was a child.
I knew there's always something there. I like that. I like it. Wait, what's your favorite number, Jeff?
My favorite number?
Yeah.
44.
Wait, who was 44? Was that Ken Griffey Jr.? No, that was 24.
Started with Hank
24.
Gathers. If any of you is a college basketball fan, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Hank Gathers was the guy
Casey?
who dropped dead on a basketball court.
What's your favorite number? I remember that. Casey, what's your favorite number?
23.
23. Is that Michael Jordan? Is it that obvious?
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Obvious.
All that.
I like it. I
Let,
like
let
it.
me
I
share
like
this. Let me share that LCM before we wrap up.
it. Oh, shoot.
Like, comment, message. You don't have to post to do this strategy. So everybody, and you've heard me speak, I talk about CRMs are basically spamming tools. You all got to have it, but really what you're doing is you're spamming them. What we all should be doing is using social media as our primary tool for staying in touch with people, because you're meeting your customer where they want to be met, not an email. Right. And so what I've challenged a lot of my people to do is I said, you're very comfortable with creating these bucket lists of your past clients, of your referral partners, right? You might have an ABC list. A is people you've done business with. B is somebody that you have a relationship with, but you've not done a lot of consistent deals. And C is like somebody you really want to create a relationship with. And I said, let's just assume you have a list of 150 people. Okay. Take that list, break it into 15 people a day, and you can figure out what you want to do here. 15 people a day. You now go stalk on social media, take 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, 15 people a day, and go find their latest post, assuming it was within the last couple of months, comment about 5 words or more. The reason I say 5 words or more is because you cannot not be authentic when you say 5 words. If you just do a bunch of emojis, that's not very authentic. But here's what's going to happen. So you have this list. Let's just say it's 150, 15 a day. That's going to take 10 days. Okay, so 2 weeks, 2 working weeks. Then guess what happens after 2 weeks? Start over, go back to the beginning, right? And then just keep doing this over and over and over again. What you're going to find is now you're going to start commenting on their posts consistently. They're going to notice you. You're top of mind. They're going to be commenting back. Why? Because you're hitting them with dopamine, because it feels good, because every time we post and somebody notices our post, it makes us feel good. So now you're going to start entering into consistent conversations with your past customers, with your SOI, with your sphere of influence, and you're going to start having more real conversations with them that will turn into business. And then this can multiply and grow from there. Because here's the reality, folks. When you take those 15 people per day, most people aren't posting that consistently. So oftentimes you're going to maybe only be commenting on 1 or 2 or 3 posts. This isn't time consuming, but this is the most effective way to stay on top of people, stay close to them. And it's why all of you should be taking all of your customers and finding them on social and connecting with them. And then you should be, posting consistently, pull them into your web, stay top of mind. And man, you're going to not only you're going to be remembered and referred, but you're going to be creating so many more opportunities.
Dude, I love that. Great ending. I put up a link there towards the end. Grab the calendar. And if you have questions for Jeff, follow him on Instagram.
Wherever.
Jeff, I'm dumping your Instagram there. If people have questions for you about coaching, about any questions in general, reach out to him. You saw Bodin's, and then you saw O'Toole's. It's just last names sound fun today, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon. We'll let you know when the next one is.
See you, fellas.
Cool. Thank you.